Welcome back. I hope you practiced on the previous section. Let's make friend with Dynamo and get used to it to do some enjoyable and useful works. Okay, if you don't mind, let's learn another node. In this section, we're going to learn arc node. Arc is one of the most useful node, which its 3-point type is more useful than others. To activate arc 3-point, you just need to right-click on the screen and then search arc. It has a lot of models, but we want to use one of them for now, which is called by 3 points. Let's see what kind of inputs it has. Alright, well, first point, second point, and third point. We give it 3 points and it connects them to each other. And its output is an arc. It has 3 inputs, 3 points, and 1 output, which is arc. Okay, let's make 3 points. Press right click, then search point. Well, now click on it, Ctrl C, Ctrl V twice. Drag them down, put them in a line, yes. 3 of them were made on 0 point now. Just in case, I want to tell you that I put it in automatic mode. Because naturally, we don't have a huge project right now. It doesn't need to pay attention to run. When our work gets serious, we should put in manual mode from automatic mode. Whatever you like, it doesn't matter what you put in there, integer or number. Number can be with decimal, but integer just, without decimal. Integer is from minus infinity to infinity, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But number is like 1.2 and etc. I usually choose integer, put it right here. If you don't mind, let's put our first point on here on 0 point. Or let's take this to the right. 10 units on x-axis, so I give it to the x. For example, 10 units. You don't need to move this, you can type your number here. Alright, 10, enter. Let's take this one into minus 10. Now from here, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, put it here. Minus 10, enter. Give it to x. Let's take this one upward on z-axis. And again, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. Yes, put it here. And give it 5 units. And connect this to this one. Alright, imagine the screen is occupied. And you cannot remember which of these points are on the screen. If you click on one of them, the screen is highlighted, that you can see it. Okay, you can check this one and this one, yes. So they can be highlighted. Why did I say it? Because when you want to make an arc, it really does matter that which of them is the first or the second or the third one. For example, I'm going to connect this to the first one, this one to the second one, makes sense, and third to third. Then it gave me an arc. Ctrl B, right click, drag, scroll to have a better view. In our first sessions, I'm gonna repeat it, all of it, to make you master on it. Ctrl B, let's change its position. I'm going to change the third one with the second one. Don't forget that you don't need to disconnect them. You click on it so you can control it, yes, like this, and connect it to the second one. Obviously, inputs cannot get 2 points. We cannot get 2 points in one port. So we connect to this and automatically the other one disappears. You can do in this way to avoid wasting time. Well, I'm gonna give this one to this one. Yes, now you can see the change. So the order of points connections of an arc is really important and must be considered. By clicking on the nodes, we can understand which of these points are which one. If you agree with me, let's make a change in this one. For example, move it a little bit. Yeah, see? Control B, roll it back. Control B, put it upward. Yes, like this. You can see the change, like this. Well, now I'm thinking about something. About what if I increase this one? So what's the change about this axis? And does height ever equal to this axis? All these things that we are talking about is about formula. Let's see what we can do for it. Can this point be remained between these 2 points forever? Let's check this out, how to do it. Well, if we want height always be equal to this axis, it's a simple job that I should just remove it and connect this to Z, just like that. And you can see this equals to this. So what should I do to make these two equal? If both of them were positive, I gave it to this one. But this is opposite of this. This is positive and this one is negative. How to do that? If you're going to make some relations between your numbers, you should use a node which is called code block. That is a very powerful and efficient node. The further we go, the more familiar we get with it. As I said, we are going to make some connections between numbers. For making code block, you don't need to right click or search and etc. If you double click, it appears on the screen. Write in it, what do we want to have? We want to give it a number which makes it multiplied by a minus and then deliver it to us. The number which we delivered, we put a name on it, like A, and then we multiply it by -1. It's so simple. A, whatever it is, you should multiply it by -1. Don't forget to not press enter. Do not press enter. You need to click out of code block. What happens next? Your code block turns into a node which has the input and the output. The input is a number and the output is the opposite of that number. So I want to remove it and then I put it here. The input is this and connect this to this one, and this gives me its output. Its output is the opposite of that one, and I want to connect this to this one, and look at this, how it's good. And then when I want to increase it like this, yes, you can disconnect this. Then from this, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and I give the number 5 to the Z axis, yes. And then when I increase it again, you can see the change differently. Or this one, when you increase it, yes, you can see what happens. We have a lot of works to do with this part, the code block, yes. You should really mention it. So you should learn it well and practice it so much. Let me give you another example. Well, I'm gonna remove all of it so that you can review all the process again. Ctrl B, yes, get close to this area. Okay, right click, search point again, XYZ. After zooming it, I'm gonna do things that we did it before. Well, I'm gonna tell you what subject I'm looking for. I want to use another code block for a simple formula. I give a number to its x. For example, this. Let's put another point here. Let it be on 0. Let's put another point between these 2 points. Okay, alright. I want this point always be between these 2 points, which means x always should be between these 2 points. So how to solve it? Sure, you do know that. Double click right here. Yes, after a code block appears, get the input and divide it by 2. Let's see if, well, it's 30. If we want this point be in the middle of these 2 points, it should be 15. Take this and give it to this one. Now if I increase this and it goes forward, the middle point keeps its distance ratio to other points. Look, yes, and I can increase y. For example, quarter of that number. Click on code block, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, okay. You can divide it by 4. Well, we grab this number. After dividing by 4, we give it to y, like this. And now you can see the result. Look at it. This is principles of making parameter of most complicated volume which you're supposed to make. I don't know about z number. It can be a proportion of that or a constant number. For example, 5. Let me give you another point for code block. If you double click and put a number in it, it will be accepted. Code block is a powerful thing. Instead of bringing number and put some constant numbers in it, you can bring some code blocks and put a number in it. Code block accepts text, numbers, even formulas. It's a cool thing. I put 5 there and connect it to this one. Why? Because I want z be constant, not a variable number. Well, after right click and searching arc, click on arc 3 points, yes. Alright, which one is it? Okay, the first one, yes. Okay, about next, if you don't click on them, if you don't look at highlight, you will make a mistake. And this one, yes, okay. And when I change this, alright, that's enough. Let's press Ctrl B. Alright, Ctrl B again. Change this again. And you can see Z is constant. Just these are changing. Alright, I think you got it. You just need to practice. Let me give you a couple of points to you and a little bit more session left. And then you practice on it. After being master on it, we have a serious practice. After that, we're gonna work together with projects, but actually we can't call them projects, but we're gonna work on it. Alright, points. For example, I gave an input to this code block like 29 divided by 2. I want to see its output, although I can guess the result. If you keep your mouse on 3 dot right here, you can see the result. For this node, you can see the point. Each node has this option. We can see the result when you keep your mouse on the 3 dots. For example, like this. As a matter of fact, if you want to see the result constantly, for example, when you change this, you want to see the outputs in the same time, move your mouse on 3 dots and then to a result and press pin. So what happened? I'm gonna tell you again. Keep your mouse on 3 dot, yes, go to result and then pin. Yes, click it. And then when you changed it, you can see the result in the same time. See? Yes. For this one is like rest of them. Go to pin. Yes, it says I've made a point 1895. And now when you change it, you can see the result again. You can see the change, yes, like this. So we can see each node's output by moving your mouse on 3 dot and then result. Then what is it giving to us? Which this one says your output is an arc. Okay, this is it. And at the end of this episode, We are going to check various states and graphics of nodes, that what color and states they can be. What graphics does it have? Well, I've prepared this as a picture. Okay, right here, I'm gonna explain it to you. It says the meaning of node's color. We're gonna find out what each of them means. Okay, it begins with warning. Warning means this node doesn't work, which means it doesn't give you an output. For example, if I'm gonna show you here, and I'm gonna disconnect this second point, yes. I'm gonna give this point, the first one to the second one. Yes, like this. And you can see what's the result. The result is warning. When it becomes orange, this means this doesn't work. As I showed you there, I give it a wrong point on purpose to show you what it's like. Actually, it can happen in different conditions. So, if under node becomes orange like this, and this triangle appears, it means it doesn't work. And it usually gives you an explanation. Probably this explanation can help you to find the problem, but often it can't help you. Most of the time you should count on yourselves. Alright, let's go to another condition or state. The next state is selected. When its round gets blue, you can see here. As you can see, when I click on it, the round of it gets blue. Well, so that means selected, right? Let's get to these two states. Freeze and preview is turned off. Well, when we made an arc in this part, as you can remember, we made an arc here. We have 3 points and arc. Maybe I don't want to see these points anymore and just want to see the result, which is arc. What can I do for that? I can deselect the previews of our points. Okay, here right click on it, deselect this preview. Okay, after doing this, the gray line under the node will appear. Being gray line under the node means you cannot see the result or the output on your screen anymore, which is so useful. For example, when I want to see only the arc, these points are annoying, and I don't want them anymore. They've done their jobs. Well, as you can see now, the green line appeared under each node. Okay, but what does the freeze mean? Freeze means this node doesn't exist at all, which means I don't want to remove it, and I don't want it to be active either. After selecting, I right click and choose freeze. Guess what will happen if I choose freeze? Did you guess that? When I freeze it, the result, which is arc, will freeze too. Well, now the arc is in freeze state. Here again, right click, freeze. As its result got freeze, naturally nothing happens here. Obviously, if you want to put it out of freeze state, right click on node, select freeze, but this one you cannot put it out of freeze because its input is in freeze state. Okay, if I put it out of freeze, this node, yes, automatically that one will be out of freeze too. It's not much useful. Alright, let's get to this part. This part says this node is in active state. You gotta notice these colors, red, blue. As I told you, it says it's an active node because of its color, blue. But this one is inactive node, which means it doesn't give you anything. No warning, because nothing happened. And my inputs were not completed yet. Let's look at here. It is an active node because each node is blue. Now I'm gonna copy from it. If I disconnect this, it gets red. If one of nodes gets red, that node doesn't work anymore, which is called inactive node. This means that doesn't have any action in our model. But what is this one? It is inactive but the default one. What kind of node is this, which has no inputs, but it looks like active state? Do you know that? Let me repeat my question again. What kind of node is this, point, which we didn't give it any input, but Dynamo doesn't count it, like Arc, as inactive node? Practically, it's active, because it's blue. And you think why? Congratulations to those who knows why. Because it has default value. If you didn't give anything to the points, they will use default, which is 0. But Arc, since it doesn't have any default values, surely you must give it a number. It's inactive unless you give it a number. Alright, let's get to the last part right here. Okay, red state. Red state means you're doing wrong, but we haven't reached that part yet. For example, we are able to do this in code block. Let me see. Okay, right here. For instance, I'm gonna give a number to this code block. I put a couple of points, then 2 here. After that, it says like, what is this? It gets red, which means it's unreadable for me. Even this one isn't right. As I told you before, you should put 0 before point, and then it gets right. Alright, if you agree with me, let's review all of it. And fortunately or unfortunately, we should go to the previous version. These graphics are different in previous version. Warning. Warning was a node that through the inputs that we gave it, it can work. For example, here in Arc, we give it to the first and the second points in the same time. Then warning appears. Warning has various states. It means the inputs we gave it are not correct. For example, we should have written text, but we gave it a number instead, or an integer instead of decimal. Selected part was so clear. In freeze state, which is not very useful, you just have to right click and choose freeze. In this part, preview is turned up is so useful, and you just need to right click and choose preview. For example, if I choose this arc, right click on it and deselect preview, it doesn't show us anymore. It is so useful. If you put something here which is not reasonable, it gives us error. Alright, in this part, a node is active which all of its inputs are blue. For inactive, one of or all of its inputs are red. For inactive default value, if we didn't even give it a number, you can see all of its ports are blue. And it's not certain that we can call it active or inactive, but to most, in my opinion, it's active. Okay, for all of this, please be satisfied to their graphics. As you can see, please let me put it side by side. Yes, like this. Its warning is this, and selected is this. It's freeze like dashed line. And for preview is turned off, it makes it pale. While it's a pale gray, here it is a green line. For error, it makes itself red, and here adds a red line. In previous version, for active part, its title is dark, as you can see, and for inactive, its title is pale. In new version, it controls them through their port colors. If we put all of this together, I don't know what your opinion is, but in my opinion, this graphic is more readable. For example, you can see here XYZ which are small, and here XYZ are a little bit bigger. But totally, I prefer to use the new version. Please do this section carefully with your own example, the section which I just explained it to you. After you master on it, we have a great examples to work on. I'm gonna give you an example to challenge yourselves. Don't go to the next chapter unless you master on this chapter. Well, I hope you learned this chapter very well. Hope to see you again later.